whack 'em, whack 'em, whack 'em, whack 'em, whack 'em, whack 'em. Come right on in, come right on in. You're very welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad to see you today. Welcome to another segment of Current Events Today. Current Events Now. Current Events Now. Welcome to another segment of Current Events Now. There is so much we want to cover today. We typically will do one particular subject, but there's been so much happening today that there's just a litany of stuff that we're going to try to go through. So bear with us as we bring news that you can use, news that you need to hear, things that you need to hear. And so as we get underway, President Trump, he has teased out a $5,000 stimulus for the taxpayers from the savings that Elon has been obtaining through cutting jobs and cutting out whole entire departments and just doing away with different departments and different processes within those departments. Whole thousands of workers being cut from the roles, from the employment roles. And so the stimulus that he hopes to, the money that he hopes to get from that, he wants to use for stimulus. Now the question is how can the president do all this cutting for the tax that is due to run out, that due to expire, but he wants to renew that tax cut, actually make it even bigger, the tax cut for the rich. So the question is how can he do that big tax cut, make it even bigger, and give people $5,000? Is that doable? Will that be doable? That's a bit hard. It's a bit hard to do both. So who will prevail if the choice has to be made? Will it be the voter or will it be the rich? In P. Diddy news today, one of P. Diddy's high-ranking lawyers has quit the case. Garagos, he's still there, and the others, but Anthony Rogas, I think is how you say his name, he petitioned the court that he would be leaving the case, and so now Anthony Rogas is no longer working with P. Diddy's case that is coming up, I believe, in May. And so, but he's still in good company with Garagos and the others that are on that team. And other news today, on the continent of Africa, the country Zimbabwe is in talks with the European countries for the minerals that they are enriched with, and that's lithium. So they're in talks with the European Union for those minerals over there in Zimbabwe. And so that agreement seems to be coming together. And so that will really put Europe in a very good place, because everything from cars, UVs, grid scales, energy systems, laptops, phones, and much more is made with lithium. So that right there promises to be a game changer for the European Union. The Trump administration fired the Joint Chief of Staff C.Q. Brown Jr. and laid off thousands of Pentagon workers and the civilians who work at the Pentagon with no justification for that move. Just laid that general, took that general down. Republican Rich McCormick, he went home to Georgia over the weekend, and he had a meeting there, and the peoples came out. They came out with them pitchforks, and they were about ready to get in his grill, as they asked him how could he even vote for the bill that they have that they're going to bring forward. How could he even vote for those things when a lot of that's going to hurt his constituencies? And so they really went after him in a great way. So he's got some choices to make, and he had better make them quick because his constituents is running high. They're mad. And so today we have to pay our great respects to the ancestors as they've gone on home. Jerry Butler, one of the greatest men that ever lived, with Jerry Butler has gone to the great ancestors. And along with him, Roberta Flack, one of the greatest singers I've known this side of the river. You two are now with the ancestors. And we bid you a good farewell. A good farewell. Oh, we have news about the Pope. It is not looking good for the Pope as conditions have worsened. His kidneys are beginning to fail. And he is in critical condition. So let us pray for the Pope, Pope Francis. Let us pray that God will touch his body, because he has the last say-so. And before we close this thing out, we want to hear from Mr. Governor Pritchard, as he was speaking to his constituents, said. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
Bad. In years of crisis and years of relative stability. In bad. In years of crisis and years of relative stability. There's a whole industry of backseat bellyachers in this state and around the country who make a profession out of rhetorically tearing down Illinois and suggesting that if we would just enact one of their magic bean fixes, that we would never face another difficult budget year. But there's one thing that I've learned as governor: there are no magic bean fixes. And each year there's some difficulty that requires us to work hard to overcome it. This year the surfacing difficulty is Donald Trump's and Elon Musk's plan to steal Illinois' tax dollars and deny our citizens the protection and the services that they need. I want to offer you a few examples. 20 million Americans, 700,000 of them here in Illinois, will lose health care coverage if congressional Republicans are successful in their effort to cut the Affordable Care Act. And rural hospitals across Illinois will be shuttered. The Trump administration cut off funding for food safety inspectors for nearly a month, impacting more than 70 meat and poultry facilities in Illinois. Without these inspectors, the supply chain collapses, prices go through the roof. From farmers to truckers to meat packers to retailers, jobs will be lost. Meals on Wheels programs, which home deliver 12 million meals per year to 100,000 seniors and people with disabilities in Illinois, are on the federal chopping block. This is real. The new administration and the Republican Congress and Elon Musk intend to take these programs away. For all the Illinoisans watching at home, let me be clear. This is going to affect your daily lives. Our state budget can't make up for the damage that is done to people across our state if they succeed. There are people, some in my own party, who think that if you just give Donald Trump everything that he wants, he'll make an exception and he'll spare you some of the harm. I'll ignore the moral abdication of that position for just a second to say almost none of these people have had the experience with the president that I do. I once swallowed my pride to offer him what he values most: public praise on the Sunday news shows, in return for ventilators and N95 masks during the worst of the pandemic. We made a deal. And it turns out his promises were as broken as the BiPAP machines he sent us instead of ventilators. Going along to get along does not work. Just ask the Trump-fearing red state governors.
Going along to get along does not work, Governor Pritchard says. And in my journey through life and through the many years God has blessed me, I have to agree with Governor Pritchard that going along to get along does not work. And so people's never allow anyone to tell you just go along. Just go along to get along. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Till the next time, we come to you with more news you can use from current events now. Have a pleasant day.